Good morning, you guys. All right. So today's message a little bit happier than yesterday, so I'm happy about that. There's a few different things. I just kind of broke them up into different sections at this point because there's a lot of stuff. All right. Before I begin, again, most of you already know that the messages that I give, I gear more towards the healing aspect of the situation or of the person. Hello, love. How are you doing? So, when I do my readings, they're not going to resonate with everyone. So whoever watches them or whoever's energy I'm picking up on, you'll know as I'm giving the message. And like I said, it's not your typical love stories or anything else. It's more of how to handle the situations that you're currently going through and what will bring you the best outcome. So yeah, also I set up pages for donations because I was asked about it, so I have that set up on Patreon and PayPal me. Sorry, this media, internet, all this shit is a lot for me that I just be like, ugh. So it's a process. But yeah, so let's begin with I want you to ask yourselves what you need to release, because there's a lot of stuff happening here and there's situations that have occurred or are currently occurring, and there's something that you're not letting go of. You're not allowing it to leave. You're not allowing yourself to move forward or let it go. And this could be things from forever ago, from when you was a child, when you got traumatized, whatever. It can be from any point in time, but really sit with yourself and try to figure out what it is that you need to release, because you haven't been releasing it and you're not allowing it to release. Okay? So we're going to start with the question. I guess I'm going to start with the easy and get into the more complicated shit. Spirit wants you to release your attachment to whatever it is that you have going on. And I say that because most of these cards is really allowing divine timing to take place and going with the flow of everything. But when you find yourself attached and waiting for something to happen, you end up with expectations. And then you get disappointed if what your expectation was or isn't met, and you have a different outcome. Then you're more frustrated. But if you have no expectations, you'll be satisfied with whatever the outcome is. Even if it is something that's bad, you can prepare for bad. Don't stress on it, but prepare for it. So understand that we have very limited control of what happens in our lives and how things play out. And you have to sometimes just let the shit play out for the best result, because Spirit's calling for you to observe. Spirit wants you to observe what's going on and observe the situation and look at your life as an observer. Don't look at your life from your perspective. Like, stand back. Sometimes it's I look at it sometimes like I check out. Like, I'll be physically sitting somewhere, but in my mind I'm literally just watching everything happen around me. So I'm watching these people have a conversation, watching them talking. I'm feeling the energy of what's happening with everyone that's in the room, but I'm not really engaging in the conversation. So sometimes you need to sit back and just watch everything and feel the energy of the room, feel the energy of the people you're dealing with, so that way you have a better understanding of what's happening. Okay, so Spirit's definitely calling for you to observe a situation and don't push against anything. So if you have something going on right now, even if it's an argument, whatever it is, don't pick at it and don't aggravate the situation. Let it be, let it sit, okay? Because right now is the time to kind of just chill and observe and allow the other person to take the lead. You can't always be in the lead and making things happen and always giving, okay? This is a time for you to just observe and receive, because when you step back and you observe how things play out and how people are, yes, you become the observer of your own life. And then if you're dealing with people, it's interesting because let's say if you're a person that, between the both of you, you're the one that's constantly initiating contact or always reaching out, or any combination of something similar. Take a step back and see where the other person's head is. See if the other person is as engaged as you are, and if they're as communicative, if they reach out as much as you reach out, or see if it's one-sided. Really sit back and look at these situations, because it'll help you put things into perspective. Because if you're dealing with a person that's not putting in the same type of time or energy, then step back, because that's not what you deserve. You deserve something that is balanced and equal give and take. So if you don't have that, really sit back and look at the situation and analyze and assess the shit, okay? Now, going with the flow, abundance is coming, but in order for your abundance to get here, Spirit is asking you to be childlike. And it came out multiple times where today's the day where you need to go and do kid shit. Go have fucking fun. Remember what it was that excited you, what sparked your soul, that you're just like, oh my God, I'm so passionate about this. I love doing this. Remember when you were a child, whatever that was, go do it. Have fun. I'm not saying pick up fucking mud pies and smash them in people's faces and shit. Like regular shit. Go play, go roller skating, ice skating, fucking climb some monkey bars, whatever. But Spirit is definitely calling for you to be childlike and laugh and have fun and be lighthearted, because when you're in those states, that's when you're allowing the universe to put things into play. Okay, so you have to go back to the lightheartedness and to the laughing. And if you've ever done laughing yoga, or you haven't, try it. I personally haven't done it, but one day. I just like laughing, so I put on comedy shows, I put on whatever. But definitely Spirit wants you to be lighthearted, because that's when you get your creative sparks. That's when these things come to your mind and you're able to say, oh God, okay, that's what I need to be working on. That's what I need to be doing. Because Spirit is saying that your creativeness, whatever it was that ignited you as a kid, is what's going to get you to where you want to be now. Whatever your passions were when you were younger, develop those. Go back into those. Focus on those. Because that's where your passion is. That's what ignites you, and that's what motivates you and gives you all this passion and allows everything to flow to you naturally. And you're not fighting against anything, because you're happy. You're doing something you enjoy. So please allow the creativity, allow these sparks, because that's Spirit giving you things. They're prompting you like, hey, look at this, or hey, go back to this, hey, do this. My thing is, I love music, I love dancing. And it's whether it's playing an instrument, singing, dancing, I love all of it. So find whatever it is that really ignites your soul and go and start doing that. If you take classes or you're painting, whatever it is, Spirit wants you to focus on the artistic aspects of it. Well, I'm already in my kingdom of heaven. I'm not sure I'm very childlike though. Asshole-like perhaps, but I don't know about childlike. So understand, as these things happen, you are creating your abundance. You are manifesting what you want, but Spirit needs you to go with the flow in doing these things. And that's why it's important for you to take a time out and play games like you're a kid again. And understand that all of this that is occurring is happening in divine timing. It's never ever in our timing, because we have very limited control about what we can do. We can choose this way or that way, but whatever path we choose ultimately has already been decided as to, well, if she takes this way, this is what's going to happen, or if you take that way, that's what's going to happen. So understand, your choices, while we have free will, it's limited free will. Okay? So please remember, observe, and all of those things are going to come into play. And Spirit wants you to balance spirituality and practicality, because sometimes we get out of balance, or we're doing things that we shouldn't be doing, or we're not being healthy, doing things that are not the best for our health, not exercising, not taking walks in nature, not meditating. All of those things play a factor. So please step back, take a look at everything, and find a balance between the things, you know. And sometimes you do have to make a schedule, and you do have to be like, okay, I can allot this much time in the morning or this much time at the end of my day, you know, because most people work during the day. So try to find an in between where you're able to do your spiritual shit and then be practical about what's happening, you know. Don't overload yourself with too much crap. And again, we're here with the healing and the foundations. So I touched a little bit on fragmented souls, because it's something that when I first heard about it, I was interested in it. And as we go through traumatic experiences or situations that force us to disassociate, we lose pieces of our soul. And in losing pieces of our soul, it's kind of like darkness takes over, like disease. Something fills the void of the pieces that we lose. And we have to find a way to remember what it was that traumatized us, to remember what it was that triggered us to disassociate, to separate ourselves from whatever was going on, because in doing those things, we're able to become whole again and heal ourselves. So please understand that there's a lot of stuff you can look up when you look up fragmented souls. And please read about it, learn about it, because I found it very interesting, the things that I read. And I don't know, maybe I'll come on and make a video to summarize everything that I read. It'll probably make it easier. But you have to go back and heal those things, you know. For me, I meditate and I kind of try to figure out if you have a chronic or long-term illness, when did it first begin? You know, like symptomatically, when did you notice, okay, this began at this point in time? But also, what events were occurring within you emotionally that made you feel so broken that this disease came about? And then if it only spurs up at certain times, you know, when you're really going through something or you're really suffering, like try to see when the flare-ups are, when these things occur. Is it emotional? Is it environmental? You know, try to really put the thought into these things and find out, because as I was doing it, there was many a times where I should have died. And it just wasn't gonna happen. You know, the angels are like, no, not today. But in those moments, I find, like, right before, it's like shit just goes in slow motion. Like, literally, I'm watching everything happen slow motion, and then it's like the trauma. And in looking at those things, you know, I can see how I would have lost pieces of me. I could see what the trauma was in those things. I can see all of these things. So it's like going back, it's almost like just taking a trip and remembering all of the horrible things where I had to disconnect so that I could survive my life. And when you're able to do that, you're able to come at it from a different perspective and say, okay, well, I see now how I lost this piece of my soul. I see what did this. I see why I'm constantly depressed, or I'm constantly ill. Whatever it is that's occurring in your life, it all goes back to something traumatic that has happened to you. And when you lose those pieces, it gets filled with other pieces. Some people say that it's bad energy, evil spirits, whatever you like to fill it with. You know, the same way there's God, universe, divine, spirit. It can go either way. It fluctuates. You know, whatever your belief is, it's your belief. But understand that when you lose the fragments of your soul, it gets filled with other things. And that's when people become depressed. And that's when the depression starts eating away at your mind and your ego space. And it's just there. And it's going to keep you in this dark place. So you have to really go back and reflect on what it was that caused you to fragment, okay? Because you have to recover. You have to call your soul back to you. You have to recover it to become whole again so that you can function as you used to function. Okay, so please definitely look up Fragmented Souls. It's something that is very awesome. Oh, before I forget, the number 8 keeps coming up, so I don't know what it is for you guys if you've been seeing it, but I have it about 5 or 6 times here. So definitely look up the number 8. As far as I know, it's, you know, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Sorry. Acorns be falling out here like crazy. So, okay, with your healing, please take a look at that. It's very interesting. And be certain that your morals and your values, you know, like I said before, you need to check in with those things. You need to make sure where they are, because if you are building something and it is something that you are artistically drawn to, or you're being creative, you need to have core values. You need to understand who you are to the core of you, and what you will and won't accept, and what you will and won't compromise on. And that's important for your foundation. And that's for any situation, whether it's a home situation, a work situation, a relationship situation. You always make sure that whatever it is you're doing align with your core values, because you don't want something that's not in alignment with you and your path, because it's going to feel uncomfortable and make you feel miserable. So be certain that whatever it is you're focusing on and you're building on, it has a strong foundation, because that's the only way that you're going to come out on top. Okay? Now, Jesus, sorry, my eyes itching. All right. So for some of you, there's a relationship that is forming or will be forming soon. And Spirit wants you to know that you are ready to let love in and allow yourself to receive the support and love of other people. And there's not a lot of which ways to say this, because people genuinely just are afraid. You're fucking afraid. I mean, there's nothing to say to that. You know, I understand, because a lot of us have been through heartache. A lot of us have been through some real fucked up shit. So I get it. But please, Spirit is asking you right now to not fear the intimacy and not be fearful of asking for help and accepting help from others and their love, okay? It'll help you to relieve pressure. It'll help you to relieve the stresses and not feel like you have to do any and everything by yourself, because you don't. At this point, Spirit's telling you that you have to allow another person to help you. You have to bring in someone else to help you get to the next level. So whatever your attachment is to the end result, you need to release it. If it's your pride, your ego, whatever it is that's stopping you, you need to reach out to the person and allow them to come in, because that is how you're going to be successful. Whether or not it's a soulmate, it could be a friend, it could be lover, it could be family. They are a soulmate. The person that's going to help you or help, whatever it is, they are some form of a soulmate to you. But understand that you have to allow these people in so that you can create these artistic things and start your path to abundance and manifestation. But again, like I said, you guys gotta be open to it. So, all right. Find the triggers that you have when you're dating, courting, I don't fucking know, whatever word, when you meet somebody and you like them. That's the word we're gonna go with. So when you meet somebody and you're really interested in talking to them and you really like them, or you just have this magnetic attraction to them, or you just don't understand why you feel the way you feel about this person, sometimes it causes you to shut down. There's a trigger. There's something in that triggers you, and you become fearful. And in becoming fearful, you start pushing people away and not wanting help, not wanting to be in a relationship, not wanting to even entertain it. So in the process of doing these things, understand that there are patterns, there are habits, there are bad habits that you need to break in order to move forward and be free from your past. So you have to check yourself and look at your past situations, situationships, relationships, whatever you want to call them. Go through them. Check from the most recent one and be like, okay, well, yeah, I really did like this person, but I shut down and I pushed them away because of this, that, and the third, you know? Sometimes when I push people away, it's, okay, well, I'm not ready. You know, if I'm not ready to open up to you, then I'm going to push you away. And it's not deliberate because, like I said, I communicate. I try to be as honest and as open as I can be with whatever is going on, so that way the other person doesn't feel like it's them or something's wrong. It's really, it's me working through my own shit, but I like to communicate what I'm working through, because if it's someone I really like or I'm really interested in, then yes, let's communicate. Let's work through it together. Let's talk about it. So do that, figure out what it is that's triggering you, have the conversations with people and let them know, hey, I really do like you, but I've been through this, that, and the third, and I'm honestly afraid. And people will be receptive, people will be understanding. What people are not receptive and understanding of is you just vanishing or you just not speaking to them. That just doesn't make sense, and it's fucked up because you wouldn't want to be treated that way. So when you go through these things, like, really find out what patterns are keeping you from being fully open to intimacy, from being open to allowing love and support to come in. Find out what your triggers are and what triggers you to shut down and pull away and be defensive, because those are your blocks. Those are things you need to work past. And if they are part of your traumas and your soul fragmentation, then you need to go back to those things. And you have to heal those things individually. Basically, like, dead ass take a trip down memory lane. It's going to be a fucked up memory lane, but take the trip. So that way you can heal these things and understand you need to cut the cords, the attachments to all of these events, because those emotional traumas are still holding you back. They're still holding on to you, and you have to cut those energetic cords, okay? And until you do that, you're going to feel a pull. And for me, like, when I cut the cord, I feel like this lightheartedness. Like, I just feel like all this pressure lifted off of my heart. And it's a process, it's not easy. 1, 2, 3, you're done. Sometimes it takes multiple tries, or sometimes you think you healed it and it's not the right thing that you healed. Maybe you're like, oh, well, I already covered this. And then there's like, no, it's something deeper. And sometimes it goes back family generations. But understand, like, you have to focus on what it is within you, what's triggering you, what's stopping you from being open, what's stopping you from being intimate. You have to work on that. You have to figure out what it is. And communication will help. It will help a lot, because you can't get help if you don't talk. You don't say nothing, nobody knows. You can't expect someone to be there for you if you're not communicating with them. You can't expect someone to be open to whatever you're trying to offer if it's never actually been offered. So understand that all of these things require communication on your part in order to make them happen and allow them to unfold, because Spirit's saying a romantic cycle is bound to begin, but it's your choice if you're going to allow it to happen. And if you're not allowing it to happen, then you're just blocking and delaying. And as I stated, it's divine timing, and you have to surrender your need to control everything and the results to everything, because it's not going to get you where you want to go. So Spirit's saying that if you are the receiver or on the receiving or the giving end, whatever side of this you're on, because it can go either way, it can be you, it could be the person you're dealing with, but allow them to make the moves, allow them to do whatever it is that they need to do. If you're the one that's open to all of this, then your partner needs to deal with this and rectify it, and allow them to come when they're ready to come. Allow them to make that offer. And Spirit wants you to understand that sometimes going into the unknown is an adventure. It's exciting, and it's not really unknown, because Spirit is pushing you and guiding you. So Spirit knows what's best for you. And while you feel you're going in blindly into something, that's not the case. They see what's good for your life. They see the path. They see what you're trying to create or what needs to be created. But you have to be open to it and stop being so terrified, because if you're that afraid, you're not going to make progress in a relationship ever. And you're going to keep shutting things down, and you're not going to be able to create the things that Spirit is asking you to create, because you're so stuck. So try not to be that way and allow the sparks to fly. Allow things to unfold naturally. When you're in the flow of everything, everything happens. It's almost like magnetic. It's just, it really does just fall into place. It's like it draws really that quickly. So please just be lighthearted like a child. Don't hold on to all of these horrible things, and understand that releasing is necessary to move forward. So we're back to what it is. What is it that you need to release? Like, what do you need to let go? What are you holding on to for dear life? What do you feel is protecting your heart? Because that's where a lot of our fear comes from, is the pain that we've suffered. So what is holding you back? What patterns? What are your go-tos when you initially meet someone you like, or you feel a connection that's undeniable? What do you do? How do you react? And is that a healthy way to react to something? Do you communicate this to someone else? You know, check yourself and see where you're at on all of these things, because that's the only way you're going to move past all of this. The only way that you're going to have that wonderful relationship you've been waiting for. And Spirit's trying to give it to you, but you guys, y'all be making shit hard. Y'all be making shit way hard. So please, you know, be firm on your foundation and your building blocks. And don't worry about the outcome. Spirit has it in the bag, okay? Spirit's telling you, like, let go, because holding on too tightly can sabotage your outcome, and you don't want to sabotage your outcome. So again, like I said, it's like a bird. You squeeze the shit, you're going to squeeze the life out of it, but if you allow it to be free, it just flows and it returns. So allow it to flow, okay? And again, whatever situations you have going on, please step back and just observe what's going on, because apparently it's necessary for you to see and not rush things, okay? And allow things to play out the way they need to play out. So if you have a relationship, job, house, the ball's in the other person's court, and it's kind of time to just receive, okay? You need to be on the receiving end. And if you've been off balance, you have to work on the healing, because the healing came out multiple times. 8 came out a shitload of times. The creative sparks and energies, like all of these cards came out a few times. So they're definitely like, you need to do this, you need to listen, you need to understand what's going on. So please understand that your abundance is coming in divine timing, and your manifestations are coming to fruition. But please open your heart. Like, work on your heart chakras and work on healing your past traumas, because that's the only way you're going to get to the relationship and get to where it is that you want to be with these things. So I believe that's everything for today. Hope it resonates with you guys. Thank you for watching. I love you. Have an awesome day. I'll talk to you later.